and welcome back to our NCAA football win total series. We continue on in the AAC, and we are on to Memphis. And the Memphis story really starts back in 2001 when they hired Tommy West. Memphis was not a good program, had been to one bowl game until 2001 when Tommy West takes over. They don't make a bowl that year, 5-6, 3-9 the next year. But in 2003, they make a bowl game, go to the New Orleans Bowl and win it. They'd end up making 6 bowls in 7 years. Finally, Tommy West last year, 2009, goes 2-10. They bring in Larry Porter, 2 awful years, 3 wins in those 2 years. Justin Fuente comes in, starts rebuilding things. 4-8, 3-9, then 10-3, and then he went 9-3, brought him to 2 bowl games. Mike Norvell shows up, 4 straight bowl games, and then Ryan Silverfield takes over, a bowl game in 2020. 2021 6-6, but no bowl, 7-6 in 22, and that brings us to last year. And Memphis opened with a win against Bethune-Cookman, then at Arkansas State, and then a win against Navy. They lose to Missouri by just 7 points before beating Boise State. Then they lost to Tulane by 10. They won against UAB on the road, North Texas on the road, South Florida, and then Charlotte on the road in overtime. They'd lose to SMU by 4, but then beat Temple. That would get them into the Liberty Bowl, where they beat Iowa State 36-26. 10-3 record for Ryan Silverfield, and he is back again this year for this squad. First of all, if we're talking about this squad, we got to start at quarterback. Seth Hennigan's back. He's been amazing for them. In 3 seasons, 79 touchdown passes, 10,764 yards, just 25 interceptions. He is not a big runner, but can run over 700 yards and 9 touchdowns in his career. In the running game, Blake Watson, 1,152 yards, 14 scores. That's gone, but Sutton Smith is back. Mario Anderson's coming in from South Carolina. The running game should be just fine. Offensive line, they bring in Jalen Nichols from South Carolina, Trent Holler from Marshall. They still have Xavier Hill, who can play both guard spots. Offensive line should be solid, and the receiving core is solid as well. Rock Taylor's back, 69 catches, over almost 1,000 yards. Demir Blankmuse is also back. He was the number 2 receiver with 7 touchdowns last year. Really, the biggest concern here is the offensive line. If that is good and they keep running the ball, the offense should be just fine. The defense wasn't great, but not awful as well. But they bring in a lot of transfers. First of all, at linebacker, Chandler Martin is one of the best linebackers in the nation. 95 tackles, 3 sacks last year, 17 tackles for a loss, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and actually scored. They bring in Arkansas State transfer Javante Mackey. He's going to be an awesome middle linebacker. They bring in some good outside linebackers. Harvard transfer Matt Hudson's one of those. The line's good, has size. Kiavanteta Spears, 300-pound defensive tackle. They bring in Patrick Lucas, a 320-pound defensive tackle. Both ends are pretty good. They can be disruptive. The secondary is all transfers, though. Cortland Marsh from Samford, Taj Rael from Old Dominion, A.J. Watts from ULM. They're going to work with Greg Rubin, who has been there. The big thing with the secondary is they need to create turnovers, or it's just not going to fully work for them. The biggest key to this Memphis season is running the ball. When they ran for less than 100 yards last year, they were 0-3. When they ran over 100, they were 10-0. And if they can keep the running game going, it should be a solid year. When we look at the schedule this year, they open up August 31st against North Alabama. That should be a win. September 7th against Troy. It's at home. I lean win that way. September 14th at Florida State. While in most G5 situations that's a loss, I put this in the toss-up category. It is most likely going to be a loss, though. September 21st at Navy, and then Middle Tennessee State ends the month. Should be a 4-1 September before a bye. They're at USF October 11th. Lean loss, but definitely a toss-up. North Texas at Charlotte in the month, probably both wins. The back half of the schedule is very friendly. They have UTSA, Rice, and UAB all at home the first 3 weeks of November. They should all be wins. Then they get a bye before they have to go to Tulane, which should be their biggest competition. I would lean win there because of the bye week before. When we break down the schedule, there's definitely a lot of sure wins. North Alabama's a sure win. You know, at Navy is a sure win. I think Middle Tennessee is a sure win. I think Troy's probably a close to sure win. At Charlotte's a sure win. UAB's a sure win. The only likely loss on their schedule is at Florida State. Even if they lose at USF and against Tulane, they're still a 9-win team. I see this as a 9 to 10 win team. Most over-unders have this at 9.5 with the under heavily favored. There is a 9 out there, and that's what we're going to hit. Memphis, +9. We're going to take that at +105. So we're going to take DraftKings, Memphis, over 9, +105. If you like this content, make sure to hit the like button, comment on it, and subscribe on it. We'll see you next time.